Do managers matter? That is the question that we're going to be looking at today. And spoiler alert, we have an answer. It came from Google over 15 years ago. So I'm really excited to talk about it today. My name is Matt Gjertsen. I'm a former Air Force instructor pilot, head of training and development at SpaceX, and now I am the founder of Better Everyday Studios, a leadership development company that focuses on helping technical organizations make better managers. This is a question, do managers matter, that comes up a lot in technical organizations. Why do we even need managers? Why isn't it a completely flat organization where everybody just makes decisions all across the board? Now, for me, as someone from the military, I think this is kind of a silly question. Like we answered this a long time ago. There's this famous story that I'm pretty sure is not apocryphal. I think it's a very real story from the SEAL teams and SEAL training, where so in SEAL training, very rigorous. One of the things that they do is they organize all the trainees into these boat crews. I think they're like 12-man boat crews, big inflatable rafts, and they have to do all these exercises where they carry the rafts down to the ocean, they charge out into the waves, and they paddle out of waves and come back and back and forth. And all these boat crews are pitted against one another. And there was this time where the instructors realized that one boat crew was always winning and one boat crew was always getting in last place. And so they decided to take the leaders of each boat crew, nothing else, just the leaders of each boat crew, and swap them. And almost immediately, they started to see a difference. They started to see that the crew that had always been winning got second. And the crew that had always been in last place, it was still in last place, but just barely. And then within 3 or 4 more rounds, the boat that had been always losing was now always winning. The boat that had been always winning was now losing. It was the only thing that changed was the leader, right? And it all had to do with everybody's super tired. This is a crazy, stressful environment. And so it all had to do with how they were motivating their people, how they were bringing them together. There's all kinds of stories like this in the military. So to me, this idea of like, does leadership matter? Do managers matter? Seems like kind of a silly question, but I know it comes up all the time, especially in technical organizations, which is why it is so great that over 15 years ago, Google did a project called Project Oxygen. And this is where they studied this massive group of teams all across the company. I think the study went on for 5 years, where they were specifically trying to answer this question: do managers matter? Can we just get rid of all middle managers, right? Should we just stop having them? The answer that they came to is yes. It does matter. It does very, very much matter in terms of the performance of teams, how the people on those teams feel. Some of the specific things that they saw are, teams that were better managed, were more productive, and had higher quality outputs. That they were mainly meaning they were more likely to meet their targets consistently, right? So a high scoring manager, their teams were more likely to consistently hit their goals, whereas low managers, they were less likely to hit their goals. Some other more specific things: job satisfaction was 30% higher on the teams with better managers. The better managers had 20 to 30% lower attrition rates, so they weren't constantly losing people. And employee engagement was 15 to 20% higher on the teams that had these high ranking managers. Those numbers are astounding, right? I mean, if you've been in any kind of, especially in the people functions inside an organization, and you can see the attrition rate, 20 to 30% change in the attrition rate is massive. Like the savings that you can have inside a company is huge, because it highly varies depending on the industry and the role, but you can expect to spend at least the equivalent of a person's salary replacing them, right? It's usually ranks between like half their salary and twice their salary is kind of the range that it will cost to refill a role, between like paying the recruiters, all the time spent of the hiring managers, and all the people on the interview panels. Interviews take a long time. Replacing someone is really expensive. And so if you can just reduce the attrition rate by 20 to 30%, that alone can dramatically transform a company. So there was no doubt about it in Google's mind. This question was kind of put to rest. They said, yes, managers do matter. We do need good managers. And so then the question is, okay, so like it matters. what makes someone a good manager. They actually identified 8 discrete behaviors that they found good managers perform. Number 1 is a good manager is a coach, right? They're able to coach their team, they're comfortable sitting down with people on their team, talking to them, being empathetic, understanding what they want to achieve, and helping them achieve it. That's behavior 1. Behavior 2 is they empower their team. They do not micromanage them. They set things up so the people on their team can make their own decisions. They have enough money or enough information to make their own decisions. They can do their own things. They get the work done on kind of their own out of their own work and initiative. They're not worried about their manager constantly looking over their shoulder and saying, well, what about this? And what about this? Behavior 3, they express interest in the team members' success and well-being. So giving attaboys, giving high fives, being excited, celebrating wins, asking them if things are going on with their life. I think in one-on-ones, this is a big thing that's often missed, is we treat one-on-ones just as the time to look at the work that has to get done, like the burn down schedule. We don't actually interact with people as humans. That's a big part of being a good manager. Interestingly, though, the 4th attribute is they must be productive and results oriented. Both they themselves need to do what they say they're going to do, get their work done. But then in terms of looking out of the team, they need to make sure to hold people accountable. If you say you're going to meet a goal, did you meet that goal? If you didn't, okay, we need to be open and honest and talk about it. So we actually need to go after and focus on these results, which is really similar to, things from Patrick Lencioni's 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. The highest level is being really results oriented. Behavior number 5 is being a good communicator. And I love they distinguish be a good communicator, listen, and share information. And I think that's the critical point, is that it's this two-way street as a manager. You need to be able to bring information in, and you need to be able to share that information. You need to be able to do both of those things if you want to be considered a good communicator when it comes to being a manager. Help your team with career development. That is the 6th behavior. So you want to understand what their goals are, what they're trying to achieve, and then figure out projects that you can put them on, people that you can introduce them to, things that you can do to help them achieve the goals in their career. Behavior number 7 is have a clear vision and strategy for the team. We actually recently had an episode with Holly Betke about this, where we kind of dove into this idea of individual managers on individual teams having a vision and strategy for their team, not just relying on the vision and strategy for the company. And then the 8th and final behavior is to possess key technical skills to help advise the team. I think this is often, especially as people are first rising into management, there's a little bit of friction there of, I want to stay technically competent. That's what got me here. But now I have all these new responsibilities. And I think the key thing here is understanding that you have to have enough skills to advise the team. You don't need to be the best on the team anymore. You don't need to be the one that's able to do all the work anymore, but you need to have enough knowledge so that you can help the people in those technical roles make better decisions. You need to be able to combine this new information that you're getting from higher ups with the technical knowledge that you have in order to help people make better decisions. I know that was a lot. We didn't spend a lot of time on this, but I think this is a really important thing for people to understand, that this is a really, really robust study that I haven't heard about in a long time, honestly. And I think it's something that can give us a really great roadmap for making better managers in our organizations, especially given that it came from Google at a time when Google was ascendant. This is when all cylinders were firing at Google. And so I think there's a lot of lessons that we can learn. And so I'm actually going to devote several episodes to this study. For the next 4 episodes of this show, of these solo episodes, we are going to be diving into 2 of these behaviors in a little bit more detail so that we can really understand what they mean, what the trade-offs are, how you actually apply them as a manager. And that way you can take all these great lessons, apply them, and become a better manager yourself. So I hope you tune in to the next few episodes. We're going to have a lot of fun, and I will see you next time on the Leadership Launchpad. Thank you so much for listening to today's show. If you are looking for help turning your organization's great engineers into great managers, me and my team at Better Everyday Studios would love to help. we deliver targeted and interactive training workshops that are designed to help build the 3 fundamental skills of any new manager: building trust, giving feedback, and setting goals. Reach out to me through matt@bettereverydaystudios.com so we can start making your organization better every day.